This is really about looking to improve the competitiveness of manufacturers in South Africa. Of course, that's dependent on the one hand on scale, it's dependent on competitiveness in many different aspects. And manufacturers, I must tell you, at the end of the day, have to really drive competitiveness across all aspects of their business. So it's not necessarily focusing on one area, it's focusing on a number. And this is one particular aspect of that competitiveness. And there we're talking about access to markets and consumers, and with that, scale. And with scale comes cost competitiveness. With cost competitiveness comes a whole lot of other benefits, including the potential to export other products. And so this is really a collaborative effort which covers one aspect of a number of other aspects that have to be addressed to attend to the overall competitiveness of South African manufacturers. I think firstly, when it comes to competitiveness, the first one that one would think of is the environment in which manufacturers can develop their businesses in a competitive manner. So that's fair trade on the one hand is a very important thing. Access to services and infrastructure is very important. An environment in terms of labor and other things which allow you to compete relative to other countries that you do compete with. Of course, access to resources, so be they raw materials, both locally produced and others. All of those things together create competitiveness for manufacturers in a country. I think we've had tremendous support over the last years, especially in terms of developing some of these programs to become more relevant to manufacturers. Of course, those programs are one element of determining that overall competitiveness. There are many other elements that also contribute, and one has to work on those as well. So some of those elements lie with and reside within the manufacturing companies themselves, making sure they're enhancing skills, making sure they are taking on technology, of course with the support of government and others, to continue developing that competitiveness for their industries and their businesses. We've certainly seen a willingness from, especially let's take the Department of Trade and Industry and Minister Rob Davies taking a very keen interest in manufacturing and the plight of manufacturers, and I think that's borne out by the partnership you are seeing here between government and business to develop that and ensure that it remains top of the agenda in the South African dialogue. We as manufacturers and as South Africa, we need to look at our entire business from a relative competitive position point of view, and that goes about fair trade. So I think tariffs are only one element. The other elements are how we position ourselves in a global context. Fair trade means, well, for example, you find across the globe there's certain incentives that are given in certain countries. We must make sure that we as a country are competitive in that regard. Where there are aspects that might be considered to be uncompetitive and are properly substantiated, we should be able to respond to those in a timely and appropriate manner. But I don't think it's fair to say that we rely on protectionism as such to develop our industry. We rely on fair trade. I think that is the bottom line.